before we get to requesting against the API, I want to show you how to do something that's called a custom hook. So right now we've just been using useState all over the place. But if you notice, HTML4 animal, or this one here, right? Animal and breed, these are almost the same thing, right? To the point that like it'd be nice if we had some sort of like reusable bit that would do like a drop down for us, and we didn't have to do all this song and circumstance, right? And we could maintain them together. So let's actually go do that. So make a new file here and call it use dropdown.js. Okay, here you want to import React from React. And we're also going to use useState. Okay, and I'm going to say const use dropdown. This is going to be our hook that we're going to create. And it's going to take in a label, some sort of default state, and some sort of options, right? A list of options to put in there. Then down at the bottom, we're going to export default use dropdown. So we're going to say const state, comma use state. So we're going to make this kind of like a generic dropdown. Sorry, not use state, but set state. Equals use state. And the default state of this is going to be whatever they pass in. So default state. We're going to give it some sort of ID. So you just need it to have it be something unique, right? Because we have to give things keys and such. So I'm going to use template strings. So I'm going to use backticks, right? Backticks are the ones that are next to 1 on your keyboard. I'm going to say use dash dropdown dash $, curly braces. And then JavaScript expressions can go in here. So I'm going to say label dot replace. So take any spaces out of the string and also make it lowercase. So like if label here was something like best dogs ever or something like that, right? What this would do is it would make this look like that, right? That's what this would output there, right? It doesn't matter that it's readable, it just matters that it's unique. Okay, and then the component that we're going to make is called a dropdown. So const dropdown equals an arrow function, and we're just going to use that implicit return again with the parentheses. Equals label HTML4 equals the ID. And then here this is going to have an ID of, oh sorry, we need to put the label inside of that. Label, which is coming in here from the parameters. And then we're going to put a select inside of that. And we have to get that select an ID as well. So ID equals ID. Value equals state, which we created up here. So state. On change, we're going to call E, and we're going to say set state to be e.target.value. And then same thing for on blur. On blur. And then we have to give it that disabled thing as well. Disabled equals options.length triple equals 0. Okay, here we're going to give it an option of all, which is going to be have no value, right? Which means it's going to have no nothing selected when it's on all. And then here we're going to say options.map and do the same thing with map. So this is going to be some item in the array or some option. We'll stick with item. Use our implicit return with parentheses and say option key equals item value equals item, and then item right there as well. Get my parentheses all matched up. There we go. So now we have this generic drop-down component, right? That's going to take in a label, some default state and options, and make a drop-down component, right? So now what we're going to return down here at the bottom is we're going to return the state, the drop-down, and then we're also going to return this setState function as well. Like that. And now we can use this just like we use a hook, right? Because this is going to give us the state. The drop-down is going to handle all of the setting and unsetting of the state, right? And then just in case as well for later, we're going to return this setState function so that we can programmatically update it in addition to using the drop-down. So I understand this is a little abstract, but we've taken the animal drop-down and the breed drop-down and we've just formed it into this kind of generic drop-down hook. Good so far? All right. So let's go ahead and go back to the search params. And what we're going to do, instead of doing animal and set animal, what we're going to do is we're going to say const. Oh, first thing is you have to import up top. So import use dropdown from /use dropdown. We still need breeds, so we'll keep track of that. But now what we're going to do is we're going to say const animal dropdown, and we'll actually just leave it at that for now, equals use dropdown, and we'll give it animal as the label, we'll give it dog as the default state, and we'll give it animals as a list of options to choose from. Then for breeds, we're going to say const breed dropdown, and we'll leave it at that for now, equals use dropdown with breed empty string as the default state, right? And breeds, which we'll handle this from the API here in just a second later. So now I have this animal dropdown and this breed dropdown. So rather than having all of this label stuff here for that, I'm going to delete animal and I'm going to delete breed. So now I just have the location one, which is different. We don't want to make that generic right now. But what's cool is I just have an animal dropdown and a breed dropdown. And that pretty cool in my opinion, right? We've kind of taken out this logic, we've extracted it out to this use dropdown hook, and now we just get these nice little animal dropdown, breed dropdown, self-contained dropdowns. So if I save this and I go back over to my code, this all works exactly the same way now, but it's using this kind of shared generic class, or hook, as it were. And what's great about this is now I can write all sorts of unit tests and I can use this all over the place, and I can kind of guarantee to my future self that this is a really good piece of code that I can reuse over and over and over again. Now, we have a bunch of errors around unused variables. We'll fix this momentarily, but you should expect to see that right now.